Hi. You need to mute yourself. Quick audio check on the stream on YouTube and Twitch. Can you hear us? So, welcome to today's November 2023 meetup of the in Austria. As always, presented by .NET Devs AT. We're a non-profit organization here in Vienna. It's all about sharing .NET knowledge. You see all the links: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, always Twitter, and LinkedIn. Oh, on my page. Yeah. Thank you all for joining here, and on stream we have a full room here. Let's tap in. Next quickly want to thank our sponsors, Avery and Rubicon, for supporting us financially. So we have streaming equipment and everything, and also JetBrains for a 12-month product license that we raffle for the online viewers. And to take part in the raffle, you need to type JetBrains in about 5 to when the talk begins, because I forgot something to set up. So not yet. Type it now. You didn't take part in the raffle. We tested this last time. And with that, we also have we have a location sponsor here that also wants to share some words. And now your part, Lisa.
Hello. Closely. Okay, I'll try. Hi, my name is Lisa. I'm from KTM. I'm actually a product owner, so not a developer. So you're probably asking, why am I here? I will tell you. So the person who's supposed to do the intro is currently on sick leave, but we share the same story. So that's why we thought it would be okay if I do it. So my name is Lisa. I started actually first, same as David. And Dimo is a developer and will be available for questions later. We have been at KTM for a long time now. We started with a big project, which we call Dealer Hub. So what is Dealer Hub? Just briefly, Dealer Hub is basically a platform we provide for our dealers to use for their everyday daily business. And the more important part probably for you is what cutting edge technologies are we using in this project for 2 years now, which would be 2 slides later. So what we are working with, you can see on this slide. Of course, we have also .NET, which is basically what it is about. We use many more things like GraphQL, React, microservices, everything that you see on this slide. So if you have any specific questions later to this project, basically, please do feel free to ask Dimitri or Alex in the back from KTM. Yeah, we are very happy that we occasion also food and drinks, which will be provided later. A few goodies that some of you already got. If you haven't yet, please feel free to grab them later. For KTM, I know that most people think that we're a production company. We do have a lot of IT people in our department. We're roughly 200 people. We are also ever growing because we are always ready to race. So if anyone is ever interested in anything, please do feel free to talk to us. Maybe some incentives, because I see some people already smiling. On the next slide, we do have great benefits, especially also in this office. Yes. So as you mentioned already, we have Klima Ticket. We have a lot of things that we would like to discuss with you if you want to. And to not take too much time away, I would also go to the organizational stuff. So as I mentioned before, after this talk by Davide, we will have food and drinks outside. We also have a raffle, which you guys also have. We already asked most of you to write your name into a bowl. After the talk, we will just grab 2 names. One will get a suitcase and the other person will get a kid's bike. We have these 2 things, so we'll be randomly drawn later. And on that note, I would like to say thank you for doing it here and being here and have fun.
Thank you, Lisa. Yes. Good. Quick look at the community news. That's old news. Okay. More important news is are the next meetups. The next one will be in December 2023. Yes, on the 21st, as far as I remember. Christian Schabetsberger is talking about high performance logging.net. The location is a Tech Talk or via stream. January, next year, I got today the date. It's the 30th or 31st of January. It's Paul Rohatska about functional development in C# at Square. And then February, me about copilots helping for development. In March, we have join forces with the Unity meetup, and the talk will be about building a 1v1 multiplayer game in Unity and .NET. No idea which license they currently have Unity. It will be in person. Location is still open. And in April, we will have Bas Yükstra about contract testing. Locations also yet to be defined. And this is preliminary, so all objects to change. No, don't say in April. You said 6 months ago this talk will be there. Yeah, and with that, my part is done, and I hand over to Davide. And yeah, let's talk about .NET 5, 6, 7, and 1 week old.
Yeah, 8, the newborn.
For developers in a rush. So, your stage.
Thank you for this. Oh, okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. 6, 7, and 8. For developers in a rush, because we have a lot of things and functionalities released during the years, but not everything might be that important, or maybe you missed it. So I will just give you a glimpse over some of the topics that you might find interesting in your day-to-day work.
One quickly thing: if you have questions during the talk, also stream. Our Stefan will be then replaying or repeating them. And if you have a question, please wait a moment for me that I can give you the microphone that also the people on the stream can hear your questions. Okay? So, Jörg.
Yes, and I love we'll have a lot of code. So if you want to try something out, feel free. We will. So, in fact, today we will talk about the. I don't know why. Nope. I can't see my slides. Nope. I have no clue. All right, let's.
Technical problems with the local setup. One moment, please.
Let me share it again, maybe. So, and share again. Share screen. No.
The suspense. Ooh.
I know that's the plan. Wait, what's going on? Okay. Hey. Okay, everything but oh, PowerPoint, finally. As it's just a... Okay. Luckily it's just 10 slides, so it's almost it's almost done. That's it. Okay, go. You will make next. We will there are general to .NET, so not only C# but maybe for console applications .NET APIs. Then I'll have 10 topics about C# mainly, but only about C#. And then I mean, I have some of the give you the choice. So I will list everything I have and it's a session more than a talk. Working in the IT in about .NET testing even on LinkedIn and by this. But we'll have a long life, let's say, which mostly overlaps with some of the. But what are those .NET versions? We can consider LTS released and with a lifetime of 3 years. So we have .6 by November 2024. We have now .NET 8, which will end in 2026. So Microsoft supports the patches and security patches, performance and bugs, whatever, for 3 years. So this is stable version. Of course, we also have the standard support. Okay, by the way, trust me. Oh, cool, you got it. Support release, which lasts for 18 months, so 1 year and a half. So next year you have to say goodbye to .NET 7. So feel free to directly move to .NET 8 or either stick to. As you know, with version comes a new version of the language. So okay, yeah, it's here. So we have in 2019 we had 4.2.1, which is the first of the new era. 2020 we had .NET 5 and C# 9, etc., etc. Still today. So 2023 we had .NET 8 and C# 12. .NET released the stuff about the latest, where they state that their APIs are able to handle 1 million requests. It's too much, okay? Can't trust them, but hey, yeah, it's not that bad. So yeah, we should maybe move to .NET 8. Yeah. Also, couldn't find any official data about the usage of the different .NET versions, so I had to rely on the only stuff I have, posts on LinkedIn and Twitter. Not that the majority of people who funded my posts are using .NET 6, so they stuck to the long-term support, so they to .NET 8 soon. Still, a good percentage of users are using .NET 7, which is not bad. So about 40% of the users are with .NET 7. It's shorter than .NET 6. Yeah. Okay, it's done. No, yeah, I have to go. Sorry. No. Okay. As you can see, the slides are pretty finished. So now we can move to the actual code. Oh, cool! It worked. Now, let's start with this solution, which is available on GitHub, so you can navigate it. I've created a branch for the stuff I will showcase today. So it's 2022 11 Vienna. So clear. With the latest versions of .NET, we had several new improvements. One of them is about the console applications. It's pretty easy. So we have this kind of minimal console application. Maybe I can zoom in a bit. Okay. Even better? Yeah, better. Okay, so we got rid of the main method. We can just create a console application by typing code. We have no classes, no particular classes, no particular methods, just a list of operations that we can execute. So that's pretty much. It's a tiny update, but I like it. Another thing that has been released during the years is async main methods. Till a few versions ago, we had only private static main method. So you were executing, you were forced to execute maybe asynchronous operations, so downloading code using an HTTP client in a static context. Now we can actually use the async task keywords and transform our console application into an asynchronous console. So we have better performance, avoid the race case scenario, and etc., etc. So it's again a tiny change, but it can make the difference, especially on legacy projects. Lastly, a thing that I'm pretty sure most of you already know, which are minimal APIs. Okay. So minimal APIs, if sure, okay. Okay, minimal APIs are a way to get rid of API controllers. So instead of having all the classes that inherit from controller base or whatever, having all the attributes to say, okay, this is an HTTP GET method. It requires all these diffs parameters, and with this route, okay, now we can have everything right in the program.cs class of the APIs. So we configure it like this. Okay, we configure to have everything, and then we can directly here define all the routes we need. Use of course dependency injection, logging, whatever, and we can define everything right in the specific file. Clearly, for readability, it's not that good if you place everything in one file, but you can maybe toy with the code, create extension methods, organize stuff in different classes, but still avoid having the burden of the API controllers. Okay, so now we can talk about the main stuff that I prepared. As I said, we have 10 different topics, and then a list of stuff that I will, you can choose to, you can have me talk about. So let's start with the core part of the presentation. And of course, we cannot avoid mentioning records. How many of you are using records in your code base? Okay. Good. So, of course, most of you know that it's just the modifier record, then the name of the record and the parameters, and using this specific syntax, you also have the public properties. So, of course, here I have the user. When I create a user using the constructor, I already have the properties populated with the correct names. And okay, this is, I think that most of you already know this part. Most of you know that using records, you have you have these properties populated using the exact same name, defined, of course, in the constructor. I don't know why it's jumping. Okay, let's do this way. Okay, we have auto quality or equality. Sorry. So when you create two instances of a record using the same parameters, when you do that with a class, you may know that when you compare them, they are actually two different objects because they refer to different parts of the memory. Using records, you have the equality checks already implemented. So you can create two different instances of the users. They are equal, but they are not the same. So they are two different instances, but since they have the exact same parameters, they are equal. Now, these are the easy parts, I know. We also have the toString automatically implemented. So when you create, again, a user, when you're calling toString, you have this syntax already created for you. So instead of having just the name, if you remember when you call toString on a generic class, of course, when you haven't defined the implementation of the toString method, you just have the name of the class, and of course it doesn't make sense. Using records, you already have the complete definition and list of the properties of the instance. One of the things that most of you, I'm sure, know is that records cannot be modified. So once you create it, you cannot replace one of the properties or update it. In fact, if I try to override the value of the name, it's a compiler error. So it's created, it's stuck, it's frozen. Correct? Not that much. You will see it later. Okay, but okay, we say that records are immutable, but we still can clone them by using the with operator. So by using the with operator at the braces, you can create a clone of the original record. So it's a user. I can create another me with a new name, Mr. Davide. It's a silly name, I know, but so you have two different instances, and of course the other properties are cloned. So it's just a copy of it with updated values. Now let's say that you want a different structure. So you have a user with ID and name, which is the one defined before, and we also have a subtype. So of course, with records, you can have a subtype. So we can define a developer that inherits the user record. And of course, it works. It acts just like a C# class. So when you create a developer, you can specify the list of known languages. Okay, of course, the other properties to match the constructor or the superclass. And clearly, this one, so the me instance, is an instance of developer, of course, but it's also an instance of the user class, which is the parent class. Okay, but before I said that records are immutable, but not that much. Let's see why. I've created an instance. Maybe we can put it like this. Okay. We have a developer, of course, ID, name, etc., and a list of strings. We can say that records are not really immutable because I can actually add a value to the list of strings. So yes, the references are immutable. So 1 is 1, Davide is Davide. The reference to the list is the same, but you can actually change the internal values of the list. So okay, beware when you think that records are immutable, because they are not. They look immutable, but you can actually change the internal values of stuff like lists, arrays, and stuff like that. Okay, let's do another step. So defining records. Of course, this one inherits the developer record. But now we have defined an explicit property. So again, of course, it's just a string with getter and setter and nothing fancy. But it showcases that you can also use properties like this when you define records. So it's not just the simple syntax, so having the name and between the parentheses, the name of the property. You can also use the older way, and of course, get use of everything else that we saw before. Of course, this new property. Oh, sorry. This new property can be accessed like this. So of course, you create an instance, passing the values in the constructor, and then define the values of this case, this property, so known C# versions. And we should add a new one here. Oh, almost at the end of the part for records. Another cool thing about records is that you can define them as abstract, and it could be useful. And of course, having subtypes implement the abstract record. So we have teacher and student that inherit from the abstract record person, where of course you can create a student and a teacher, but you cannot create an abstract record because of course it's abstract, you cannot create it. So yeah, you can have the whole hierarchy and the whole modifiers you have with classes, but using records. So again, abstract classes, virtual, and whatever you like. Also, you can use record, but define the abstracts. So if you work heavily on with memory usage and you prefer using structs instead of classes, you can actually do that using records. So that's pretty much it. You have a lot more than expected with records. So records is not just, okay, I can define the properties and the auto equality. You can also have subclasses, virtual records, subrecords, virtual records, structs, and so on. So there's a lot more than expected. Next topic. So yes, we are developers in a rush, but my PC is taking its time. Okay. Yeah, a question.
We have a question from the stream.
Yeah.
What are common use cases for records? When shall we use records over, for example, a DTO?
Yeah, I generally use them as DTOs. Yeah, for example, for pagination, or maybe when I don't want to define a file or a DTO used within a specific method or file or classes. Sorry. So it's just a utility. One thing that we should take care of is that records have a lot more functionalities than records. So we should maybe benchmark if using a record is always the best choice for us. Okay, because they are simpler than classes, but if they implement automatic to string, automatic equal implementation and stuff like that, probably they have they use some more memory than just plain classes. We have to benchmark it. So I would say let's use it for DTOs, but again, with care. Next, with .NET 8, they released the so-called primary constructors, which are stuff like this. So it's similar to records, but now you have class, the name of the class, and the name of the properties. There's a lot of fuss about this functionality. Actually, I don't know why. I wanted to talk about this because maybe you know and you understand why these are so useful. I actually did not. But again, this is a conversation with you, so I want to hear your opinion. Because, okay, now we have a primary constructor, which is placed here, but it does not create the public properties. You have to create them manually and use the return or the arrow syntax or whatever you want to map the values defined in the constructor to the public property. So, in your opinion, is that a great change, or maybe we could avoid it and create just a simple constructor with the properties? What's your take on this? You prefer this one? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So okay, you remove some lines of code here instead of this. Of course. Okay, so you prefer that syntax rather than this one, correct? Okay, that makes sense. It's
private fields are missing.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, you say stuff like that. So you mean stuff like this? We already have. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's one of the cases that I think 90% of my classes really only pull in dependencies through constructors. So you can remove the constructor, you can remove the duplicate definition. So duplicate. You can remove the duplicate definition of all the parameters. So you don't have to write read only fields and assign the fields from the constructor. You can just remove like 10 to 15 lines of code per class.
I like it.
And also, if you assign it instead of returning it in the property, you can also, like, the compiler figures out if it has to capture the variables that you pass in or if it can throw them away. So it has some weird compiler warnings associated.
Okay.
But the fields are not read-only. And one comment at the back.
I think it depends. It's nice for dependency injection, but also you can't add constraints to the input you get. You can't throw exceptions if the input is invalid. So it depends.
Yeah, you cannot add validation of the constructor, for example. And also a question for you. I don't know if you already tried it. Can we use a secondary constructor? Yeah, we have the primary one. Can we? Let's raise your hand for yes, we can. Let's see. Okay. Wait. Right. So you say stuff like this and this. And if I wanted to have another behavior inside this constructor, would you do that? Yeah, maybe yes. I mean, stuff like, I don't know, initializing the name with some other value, or I don't know, checking if it's null or empty. But still, yes, we can do that. So good job. Yes, I like this conversation. Yes, it's way better than just talking alone here. Okay, so yeah, we have primary constructions. We found that it's actually useful for having a cleaner code, and yeah, we can actually extend it as we want. I think I will never use it, but I trust you. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, let's talk about the init keyword, which has been added in .NET 5, so a few years ago, and allows you to define that once you have created and populated a field, you cannot override it. So it's just applied at the instance initialization. Okay, so we have the property first name with a get and init, and of course a default value. And we can, okay, so like this. Okay, we can initialize a new person with age 30, 30, nothing more, with name Davide Bellone, but of course we cannot override this property because it's already initialized. So first name is Davide, so I cannot override the value. But what happens when you don't initialize the property? So the property itself is not initialized. Still, you cannot do that. So once you have created the instance, not the property. So it's different of the step. So when you create, again, the instance of the person, not the initialize the property of the instance. So it's on two different steps. So take care of this. So this one was pretty easy. Oh wow, we are already at topic number 4 of 10 and more, of course. Let's talk about .NET 8 and some new methods of the random class. Because I don't know you, but every time I had to pick some random items from a collection, I used to say order by random.next, take 5, something like that. of course, it doesn't make sense. Every time you're creating a utility method to pick some random stuff from a collection, doing every time the same stuff and creating it for every project, it doesn't make sense. Lucky for us, they created the shuffle method, which comes from the random class, and updates the collection, the original collection. It does not return a new collection with the shuffled items. So you pass in a collection of items, in this case of numbers, and it shuffles them in memory. So again, pay attention when you do this, because you will lose the original order of the first of the input array. Clearly, let's see if I can run it. Clearly, the collections are equal because they contain the same items. Just a second. As you know, my PC is getting old. Let's random class like this one. Okay, it's already running. Maybe. Well, by the way, trust it. I don't know. Okay, still, yeah, we have it shuffles in memory basically. Of course, the collections are not equal because they are not the same collection, but they are equivalent because they contain the same number of items. The other method released with this new .NET version about the random class is this one. Okay, get items. Oh, okay. Get items. So you have a collection of items. You want to get 3, in this case, items from that collection in 3 random items. So you pass in, of course, the source collection, the number of items you want to take. And of course, it creates a new collection with just those items. There's something you should consider when using this method, is that items can be repeated. So, okay, if you have the array from 0 to 10, when you pick 3, you can have repeated values. So, again, consider also this this part when using this method. So, now you know it. Okay, let's stay with .NET 8. And let's talk about the spread operator. Spread operator is just a syntactic sugar to concatenate different collections of items using the ... symbol within square brackets. So we can join an array of integers and also a list, so 2 different data types, but still collection. And you can join them using the square brackets, ... first, so the first one, and then second, third, whatever you want. And clearly, you will have a brand new collection in this, which is an array. Yeah.
So in JavaScript, it's 3 dots.
Yeah,
Why is
I
it
know.
2?
It doesn't make sense. I know. I know.
Why?
Everyone complains about it, and they are right. I mean, it's here. Use 3 dots as everyone has. Yeah. You're right. It's .net.
So what's the official name of this 2 dot operator? Is it the same name? Or
It's
is it
the
a different name?
spread operator.
It's spread operator.
Spread,
It's the
yeah.
same name, but
Yeah.
2
But
dots.
yeah, I know. Another question.
I think it's actually 2 dots to be consistent with other or similar operators in C#. For example, list patterns also use 2 dots for collecting all the rest of a collection. And I think ranges can also be defined with 2 dots, if I'm
For range, I don't remember. I know that these two dots are can be used for something that we will talk about later. So pattern matching. I forgot the name, of course. So yeah, with pattern matching, you have the two dots. So yeah. So yeah, probably it's just for consistency with the other operator. So okay. Next one. Oh, time flies. Okay. Yeah, we have another question.
Would you mind going back to the previous example?
Yeah.
Random. DGMREC has the question: is random.shared
Oh,
something
right.
like a singleton instance here?
Random.shared is a shared instance across the whole lifetime of an application, and can be used instead of creating every time a new random, etc., etc. You have just that one, let's call it singleton instance that is shared across the whole lifetime of the application. So it's just a utility to allow you to avoid writing too much code. Random.share, it's everything there. So of course you can customize it with the seed, I suppose. So yeah, it's a good way to shorten your code. Okay, model validation. How many of you do apply validation to models, like using the attributes or using the fluent validation or stuff like that? Okay, cool. So you might find this interesting. We have some new attributes released with .NET 8. One of these is the length attribute, which can be used both for the length of a string. So in this case, the string name should be between 4 and 15 characters long, but also for arrays, for example. So we have the tracks array for this album, and it should have at least 2 values and top 20 values. So you can use them for 2 different purposes. Oh, too much. 2 different purposes. Okay. So clearly, if we create a new music album with a name with 3 characters, will fail. And of course, even when we create an album with just 1 track, so just release the single instead of the whole album, clearly it will fail. We have some other attributes that have been released with .NET 8. One is for the denied values. So I accept everything except for trap and bossa nova. So yeah, no, not bossa nova, please. But still, okay, you can have everything except for these specific 2 values, or you can clearly rock, of course. Clearly, you can also define which are the allowed values. So in this case, the role is just teacher or student. And clearly, yes, I'm afraid so. Let's try. I'm sorry. He asked if those attributes are case sensitive. So. Sorry? I don't think so. I think they're just constant values, but okay, so let's try this one. So with just teacher, it worked. Let's see. So the name is similar, but not exactly the same. And will fail or will pass. Luckily, it's not my work computer, this one. Okay, it failed. So yeah, the role was not the one defined in the method attribute. So it doesn't match. So yeah, it's case sensitive. So like this. Okay. So yeah, we have allowed values and denied values. Again, no, not bossa nova. Okay. Ooh, we are talking about something pretty interesting that not that many people use, which are the helper methods for the argument exception class. Yes, to showcase this, I had to create some weird methods, I know, but let's move to the end. Okay. Starting from .NET 6 and moving on to .NET 8, they added more and more methods on the argument exception family to allow us have a better model validation or generic validation, of course. First of all, we have argument out of range exception, which now has with .NET 8 a new method called throw is if less than. Of course, you pass in the value that you want to check and the value that you have as a comparison. So clearly, if in this case value is less than 0, this method automatically throws an argument out of range exception with all the information you need to clearly debug and trace what is missing. Another one, which is pretty new, is throw is if null or white space, which reflects the string dot is null or white space, and it was added with this new version of .NET. So again, clearly, if you pass in the value and the value is just a space, this one throws an exception of type argument exception, of course. While argument null exception used to add two utility methods, so throw if null and also actually throw if empty, which help you validate of clearly if the value passed in as a parameter is null. Clearly, if it's not, no exception is thrown. You can also clearly define the name of the value, which is null. Or again, you can just skip it and it automatically will understand its name given the method signature. Yeah. Again, we have a lot of different methods that allow you to create model validation, string validation, or again, general value validation, and automatically for you throwing exception of the right type. This one is pretty good, and I'm happy they added some new methods such as throw if null or white space, which was missing. It was necessary, let's say, because of course it doesn't make sense for you to add a check on the null or empty and then add another one for the string which has a white space. So use one method, do everything you need, and we are good friends. Let's move to topic number 8. So let's go about this. Okay. We are talking about dates and time in general. We have now daytime and different other classes. Also NodaTime, which is a popular library used to handle dates. But most of them mainly care about specific moments in time. So talking about both the year and the moment of the day. So with .NET 6, they added some new data types. Date only and, of course, time only. With date only, you can specify a date of the year. So 2022 May 9, without caring about the time of the day. Clearly, you have all the properties necessary for you. Again, year, month, day, etc., etc. And you also have the specular class, which is time only, which clearly is all about a specific moment of the day without specifying what day. So yes, it's every day at 9:15. So they're pretty useful and it's a good addition to the language. Just beware that if I'm not wrong, they are not that compatible with Entity Framework. So before relying too much on these structures, again, as usual, do some tests on your own and then decide if they were using that. Again, let's stick with time management. And let's talk about something at in .NET 8, which is just a way to abstract time. Instead of using the time.now, the time.utc now, etc., you can now use some kind of abstraction. And let's, okay, which is called time provider. Time provider is a new class, which, as you can see, provides an abstraction for time, of course, and clearly you can mock it as you wish. And this allows you to, okay, it's not mine. Okay, this allows okay. This allows you to create better classes that do not rely on some specific time and just avoid creating some dumb interfaces just to mock the time now class. So I don't know how many of you have created some classes, some tiny dummy classes just to say return datetime.utc now so that you could test it and maybe mock it in your unit tests. This way, no, not mine. Okay, cool. Okay, no, using the using time provider, you can avoid creating all that useless code. Well, not useless, but repetitive code every time. And clearly, you can mock it as you want. So in this case, I created a mock of the time provider, defined what it should return, so that when I created my calendar class, when I use my calendar class, I can use get UTC now, which of course comes from the original class defined by Microsoft, and then I can do whatever I want. So calling the day of week property and do whatever I need. So it's great to avoid injecting your datetime now and datetime UTC now everywhere. Last topic for today, well, for my side, then the choice is yours. It's for the switch pattern, and there's a lot to talk about. First, let's see the structure of the classes. We have a class named media with just with just the URL, and then of course we have a video, which is a medium with some other properties, nothing fancy. You got it. Okay. We have some new functionalities for the switch expression, which we can use to have better, cleaner code. So it's just working about syntax, not new functionalities, but it's pretty handy. The first one is that instead of saying, for example, if media is video, then do something else, return this is a generic medium. Okay. We have this new syntax. So in the switch block, we can define the name of the type and then automatically cast it to a new instance. So, yeah, of course. This way you can use all the properties defined in the video class instead of the media class. So it in one instruction, it checks for the actual data type and also casts it to the correct instance. And this is terribly useful. Let's do a step further. Okay, here. We can apply some other filtering on the within the switch block. So in this case, it's a switch, of course, again, of a media. If the instance is a video, then cast it to a video. Then add some more filtering. So when the video duration is greater than 5, then do something. Otherwise, do the other cases. So yes, we can inline everything like this to avoid, for example, creating adding the if clause within the case clause. So it's way cleaner this way, of course. Again, we can see, for example, just to clarify, when I create the video whose duration is 15, it clearly falls in this path, and it returns this is a long video. Clearly, it's great, and I think most of you will find it pretty handy. Another kind of syntax for the switch block. So instead of using switch name of the value and then all the clauses, we can directly return the result of the switch block. So in this case, we have the get message method which accepts a media value. Then you can say media switch and all the cases. It allows you to create some kind of inline switch blocks, even though clearly it's not inline, it's 4 lines. So by the way, you got it. And it's pretty handy. Of course, you can customize it as you want, but using a different syntax. So instead of using the when keyword, you will use the braces. So saying video, then braces, public is true. So by using the colon sign, clearly, I don't know if it's visible. And it allows you to do something similar to the one that we saw before, but directly returning the value. So instead of doing some kind of operation or applying or saving this value in a variable and then return it, you can do it directly online. And that's pretty it. So those were the 10 topics that I found most important for .NET developers who were not able to catch up with all the stuff released during the years. We have a lot more to talk about. Let's add just a tiny one. Global usings. I don't know if any of you already used that. It's a way to centralize the usings used in a project by using too many usings, by saying that this namespace will be used globally. And it allows you to avoid replicating the same line of code everywhere. So it's just a kind of refactoring of the namespaces imported in your code. And it declutters a lot of repeated namespaces. Okay, so that's pretty it. If you have any question, okay, cool, one.
So the last time I did C# professionally was 2013. Since then, I've been doing 10 years of JavaScript. And I just want to see how jealous I am with some of these syntax figures you guys have now.
Yeah.
Like that case thing is like, I hate writing case switch statements. That's just ridiculously good. Rant over about my own languages.
Yeah, it's legit. Yeah, it's the syntax can be pretty similar, yes, of course, and clearly all the languages take some inspiration from the other ones. Hopefully just the good parts and not the worst. But yeah, most of the time you will see something similar from one different from one language.
TypeScript to
Yeah.
the, or even better, the JavaScript board.
Yeah.
But JavaScript's like 7 years behind TypeScript. So
Yes. Yeah. Lucky for us, at least we have TypeScript because just plain JavaScript. But still, it's good point. So, okay, we have another question.
Yeah, I get the question about only date or only time. Is it easily castable from datetime?
Yup. Let's see if I remember how to do that, because every time I forget about it. Let's say it's okay, daytime. Daytime dot now. Okay. Now, if I remember well, it should be time only. Okay. Dot from daytime. Okay. And okay, this way. So yeah, you have the methods defined to the destination class, so time only, date only, and allows you to convert from one date type to the other one. Clearly, it works for date only as well. Shall I? Okay, another one.
Talking about performance, how much was the performance gain, or how much does this extra syntax cost?
Honestly, I don't know, but I do know that they worked hard for having better performance, so that for the last version of .NET, I don't see what. Okay, good. They closed around 1,200 pull requests just focused on performance. So we should be good to go. And so we should create a benchmark maybe for it and validate it against another version of the language. But I'm pretty confident they worked well. I hope so. For giving the good performance on this, also given the new functionalities and new syntax. So I hope they didn't add some more memory issues while giving us some new features, because otherwise we should move to another language. So we should be good with performance.
Okay. And another question is about the size. So I have one project with WebAssembly. And the biggest pain is the amount of DLLs and the size of the DLLs you have to download the first time. Then it's in a cache, okay. But when I visit the website, the WebAssembly website the first time, it's like, I don't know how many megs of DLLs you have to download. Was there any improvement with
yeah, do you mean for the download of the SDK or for the final result of the application?
It's about the DLLs, not about the SDK. It's about the DLLs.
Ah, okay.
Runtime DLLs, which you have to
I know that they added some kind of optimization like AOT, which should help you removing all the stuff you don't need. Also, maybe with trimming, if I remember well. But honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, I've never actually cared. I don't know, my fault about the size of the final result. So I'm not sure.
There is now a new mixed mode for Blazor. So it uses for the first call, if you set it to auto, it uses
server-side rendering and signal R, I guess, for the first call. And after you reload the page, it will use WebAssembly instead. So it loads it in the background, so you don't have to wait.
Another one from DJ Emrek. Talking about global usings, what do you think about the implicit usings from .NET?
The implicit using. So it was probably. Is it talking about this one? So this functionality of the new.
The ones in the MS Proj where you said.
Okay. Sorry. The global using. Sorry. Actually, I find them pretty handy, especially for tests that have a similar structure, or at least some similar dependencies, such as, I don't know, access to entity framework or to this test framework, in my case, NUnit, etc. So it can be handy for this part. Of course, it might have some difficulty if you have classes with similar names, but which come from two different namespaces. So, for example, you have two libraries which use user. So it might not be that obvious understanding that this instance of user, is coming from one namespace rather than the other. So actually, I would use it, especially for larger projects. So.
And what about the implicit usings that you get per default when you create a new CS Proj? You now get in the CS Proj, you get the implicit using set to true. So you get like system and system collection and task. What do you think about these?
I don't know. I wouldn't add them as implicit. I prefer having everything under my control. So personally, I would avoid it, but just because I want to know that, okay, I'm using these libraries, these namespaces. So if there's something wrong, or maybe I configure it wrongly, or there are some kind of mismatch of the versions, I have full control over the project. I don't know if you have any other questions, or if we have some more time.
Last question, also for the stream.
Otherwise, I have just one tiny topic. May I? It's extremely short. It's just like this. It's a keyword. It's the one keyword under the catch block, which can be pretty useful when dealing with exceptions, when you don't want to create a bunch of instructions within just the one block, but you want to filter it and have different handling based on the actual values of the exception. So in this case, you catch an exception, you check that when the exception.status code is not found, so manage it as page not found. Otherwise, all the other HTTP request exceptions fall into this catch, and then clearly the default one. So if you want, I'm done. let's have dinner. No, okay. Yes. Okay. Wait. I have to understand how. Can I have just 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Right. Clearly, I wanted to say thank you for the attention and for having me here. It's been a pleasure. So of course, I love this conversation and not just this talk. You can find me again on Twitter and LinkedIn. Yeah, Twitter, not X. On Twitter at Bellone Davide. Yeah, no X. Or you can maybe follow my blog, codeforit.dev, where I publish one content every Tuesday, except for today, of course, because I'm here. So, but still, next week you will see something maybe interesting, hopefully. Again, thank you, everybody.
you can post afterwards a link to the recording of this session. Then you have content for today.
Yeah.
So, where are my slides? There we stop. It's not.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. Thank you, David. It's just like, but so I have too much in the head. So thank you for being here, and as every speaker, we have some small things for you. So first, one of the last coasters with our logo,
cool,
custom 3D printed, and you can also the new stuff. It's a sticker set with new stuff, and this one that's the complete sticker set.
Cool.
You get one complete set.
Thanks.
And for the people here, I have here a Hello World thingy with today the orange ones. So since last time on every meetup we have one of the stickers here in one color. Last time it was white. Today it's orange. And if you want to have one, grab one. I put it here on the seat, and grab one. There should be enough. You can also take more than one, so it should be enough. I think 40 stickers or so are here.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, also thank you to our sponsors again, Theater Every Rubicon for financial support, JetBrains for the product license. We will do the raffle now, Stefan. So it's now waiting. So
we have 5 entries.
5 and good.
And the winner is Vladimir Tolchev.
Good. Congratulations, Vladimir. Please send us an email on that address, and you will get the product, the voucher code for that. And we have also a raffle here in person. So let's do this also now. So. So who is the Glücksfee?
Okay, so let's start with suitcase. Let's see who it is. So first one is the suitcase. Alan Siltra? I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong, but that's you.
Congratulations.
You may travel in style.
Cool.
You're welcome.
Good. And
the second one is like it's a kid's training bike. So it's a kid's training bike. Let's see. I hope for you have a kid. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but you can try it. Vadim was people. Vasily. That's you. You have one.
feedback from you here in the audience and also the ones on stream. And we have a quick feedback form to fill out. A lot. We always want to improve these meetups, these events. So please give your feedback. And yeah, with that, have a nice rest of the day wherever you are on stream. It's very dark here. Yeah, and we see us next time. Bye. December 19th.